We'll start with the prayers. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramartanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Chapter 18 of the Bhagavad Gita, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. What is the method of getting liberation from our identification with the body, mind, and intellect? This is the last chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. It is a science of Moksha Shastra. It is a science, very systematic teaching of how to achieve happiness in life, how to remove sorrow from our life. Right from the beginning of the second chapter, Lord Krishna starts teaching Arjuna the whole science of moksha. In the second chapter itself, he defines what is moksha from verse number 12 to verse number 13. In this chapter, 18th chapter, he tells Arjuna the final steps of the release of the individual from his identification with the body. A very beautiful chapter. If you understand a very step-by-step, in a step-by-step process, you will find it very, very interesting. We have seen so far 10 verses. And in these 10 verses, what we have studied is that there are small differences between Sannyasa and Tyaga. The basic question asked by Arjuna in the very first verse is, what is this difference? Continuously in the 17 chapters, you have used two words as if they are synonymous. Somewhere you have used Tyaga, sometimes you have used Sannyasa, throughout the Gita. Can you tell me what is the subtle difference between the two? An answer to this question is this entire chapter. A simple answer to this question is Sannyasa means dropping the ego I. Tyaga means at a lower level, dropping the fruits of action when we practice karma yoga. So be very clear. When we are doing karma yoga, initially as a student of Bhagavad Gita of chapter 3, 4, 5, what we are taught is Tyaga. Karma phala Tyaga. When doing action, drop the desire for the fruits of actions. That is Tyaga. What is Sannyasa? Sannyasa means dropping the ego, which is identified with the body, mind, and the intellect. Body, mind, intellect is Prakriti. It is nature, born of food, born of 5 elements. It has a certain law of karma attached to it. It is born due to law of karma. It dies because of law of karma. Prarabdha karma, it takes up a particular body for the ego I, and then he drops this body. So what is the benefit of this sannyasa? Dropping the identification, what do I get? I get the highest purushartha, which is called as parama purushartha. The highest goal one can achieve in spiritual life. In the material life, you can earn millions of dollars. You can enjoy comfort to the highest level. You can hire a plane, you can own a plane, you can go place to place, you can enjoy all the pleasures of the whole universe. That is at the material level, prakriti level, matter level. But when it comes to the spiritual level, the highest goal is dropping this identification with the BMI. That is what is called as sannyasa. And in order to get that, we need to purify the mind. Mind is the instrument for bondage. Mind is the instrument for liberation. Our mind is impure when we are born. It has got a basic impurity called as ajnanam. Ajnanam means ignorance about our higher nature. Because of this ignorance, we end up taking the body, mind as our self, our real self. And then go about throughout our life trying to please the senses, trying to please our mind. I like this, I do this. I don't like this, I don't this. The whole life is earning comforts at the body level, mind level, intellect level. As long as we get these comforts, we are very happy. But there is a higher happiness which we do not know. That happiness is unconditional happiness. It is the happiness of our own nature, which is called as Atma Sukham. How do I get this Atma Sukham? Only by purification of the mind. In order to purify the mind, I must know how the entire body acts in the world. Lord Krishna takes up 12 factors for analysis to teach us how does this body act and gets pleasure in this world, gets happiness in the world. The 12 factors are 5 factors analyzed in the 17th chapter, 7 factors analyzed in the 18th chapter. The 5 factors analyzed in the 17th chapter are: number 1, Shraddha; number 2, Ahara. Shraddha means faith, Ahara means food. Number 3, Yajna, acts of worship. Number 4, Dana, charity. And number 5, Tapas, austerity, withdrawal process. So these are the 5 factors: Shraddha, Ahara, Yajna, Dana, Tapas. These were analyzed in 3 temperaments: Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. Because our mind, being a product of the 5 elements, subtle 5 elements, it undergoes a change. It undergoes vikara. Our mind keeps on changing from one mood to another mood to another mood. We are in the sattvic mode where knowledge is predominant. Rajasic mode when action is predominant. Tamasic mode when we are in the inertia mode. Chapter 14 describes this entire 3 moods of the mind, the temperaments of the mind. So with reference to the temperament of our mind, we do actions, we have knowledge, and we gain happiness or dukkha, depending on what we are doing. The 18th chapter analyzes 7 factors. The 7 factors are: number 1, sannyasa; number 2, jnanam; number 3, karma; number 4, karta; number 5, buddhi; number 6, dhriti; and number 7, sukha. We have finished the 3 types of sannyasa, which is in 7, 8, and 9th verses. And from the 10th verse onwards, we are understanding the deeper aspects of this renunciation. That is where we are today. Last week, we completed the 10th verse, which is a description of a sattvic tyagi. Who is a sattvic tyagi? A person who has renounced what is his nature. In the 10th verse, Lord Krishna says, a sattvic tyagi is one who has cleared all his doubts. He does his duty. He doesn't hate any action. At the same time, he is not attached to any action. So this is the first lesson we must learn when we are building up our mind to understand Atma. I become a person who is qualified with sadhana chatushtayam to gain the knowledge of Atma. In the 11th, 12th, 2 other verses, Lord Krishna describes how action has to be done and how the fruit of action has to be given up. So let's go into the 11th verse today. Nahi deha brita shakyam tyaktum karmanya sheshatah yastu karma palatyagi satyagi tibadhiyate. Who is a tyagi? Very simple. Tyagi means a renouncer of the fruits of action. Because now we are studying not sannyasa, we are studying tyaga, which is a lower level. Sannyasa is at a higher level, which happens at the Vidvat sannyasa level after studying the Upanishads, the Gita, and Brahma Sutra. I have described to you 2 types of sannyasa. Vividisha sannyasa, the one who is a student, who has a goal of understanding the Atma. He is called as Vividisha Veditum Ichha. He is the one who wants to know Atma. Vidvat sannyasa means he has gone through the process of Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasnam. He has understood Atma and claimed Atma as his real nature. Here we are talking of not the number 1 sannyasa, not number 2 Vidvidesha sannyasa. Here we are talking about karma yogi sannyasa. A karma yogi is a one who has given up karma phala tyagi. Karma phala tyagi means I do all my actions for the sake of duty. I drop selfish actions for my own comfort, for my own benefit, for my own happiness. I drop those because those are not in the long term going to give me happiness. Initially, we all start by earning money to have comfort in life. That is our starting phase. All of us go through it, there's no problem. But after some time, you must realize, after having some comforts in life, some happiness which comes from the grihastha life, then we become mature enough to understand that money is not everything. There is something more than money, which is called as Atma Jnanam. That is why we come to Bhagavad Gita. So here we are talking about karma sannyasa, karma phala sannyasa. Now here Lord Krishna says very clearly that it is very, very difficult. Nahi deha brita shakyam tyaktum karmana sheshataha. He says for an embodied soul, for an indweller in this body, it is very difficult to abandon activity. But one can give up the fruit of action. Because activity is done by Prakriti. Prakriti means nature. Nature will push me into activity. One is the only way where we can do, we have some choice is to do the actions, take up right actions and do them. Drop the wrong actions, which is called as Nishiddha karma. We have seen Nitya karma, Naimitya karma, Prashchitta karma. We have seen all that before. So Nitya Naimitya karma, we should not drop. Yajna dana tapas, we should not drop. Engage fully in duties. Throughout the day, duty to the society, duty to the family, do your duty. Yes, I want to earn money for the family, go ahead and earn. So that is what here Krishna is saying. I am a man, woman, father with respect to the body, identified soul, not the Atma. Throughout this chapter, we must remember there is a difference between the ego I and Atma I. Throughout this chapter. Again and again, we will come back to the differences. What is the difference? The moment I identify the I, the soul, the pure soul, the indweller, see, the body is just a shell. I am the spiritual being who is in this body. This spiritual being gets identified wrongly to the body and thinks that this body is me. The spiritual being is eternal, immortal. By wrong identification, it thinks that this body is me, the mind is me. The world is a place where I can enjoy the pleasures. This indweller, the mind which is in this body, learns to understand that it is not this ahamkara, the reflected consciousness which is attached to the body, but it is the original consciousness which is never limited by the conditions of the body or the mind. This is what is called as moksha. Again, I repeat, we are all indwellers in this body, spiritual indwellers. That spiritual indweller is eternal. It is always there. Whether the body is known, the body is not known. In the waking state, the body is known. In the sleep state, this body is not known. It goes to unmanifest condition. Along with the body, the mind also goes into unmanifest condition. Whether this body is manifest or unmanifest condition, I am the pure Atma who am existing. I am the Sakshi, the knower of this principle of manifestation and manifestation. This is the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. The moment I get this knowledge, I'm free. Without this knowledge, how I am? I am attached to the body, and then I say, I'm the mother, I'm the father, I'm the boss, I'm the runner, I'm the swimmer, I am the perceiver, feeler, thinker. I'm a person with strong likes and dislikes. So when I'm attached to the body, it is a natural attachment. See, as soon as I wake up, the ego I gets attached to the body. I can't do anything about it. But through this Atma Jnanam, I learn to disassociate with the body. It takes time, but it will come gradually. And when it comes, you yourself will come to know, oh, my attachments to the world has dropped a little bit. You yourself will come to know. Nobody needs to come and tell you, because the knowledge works on you. The Bhagavad Gita knowledge works on you. It works on the mind. The individuality, the ego high, has to be guided by only Atma Jnanam. Ego I is guided by, the intellect is guided by the knowledge of the world. You become a doctor, you become a lawyer, that is for earning money, to maintain the body, for doing your duty. But when it comes to the knowledge of the self, this ego I is thoroughly useless. You need to go beyond the intellect, beyond the ego I, and discover a new I, which is the Atma I. So when the individuality ends, you will be totally free from action. Not physically free from action, but mentally free from action. There is a subtle difference. When you know your Atma, action at the body level will still be going on, but you will say the body is acting, it has got a duty to perform, it will complete its duty till the last breath. But you will say, I am ever free. I was free from this identification before the birth of the body. I will be free from the identification with the body after the body drops. Who am I? I am the pure Atma. You get a new self-identification, a new label to you. We get a name which is given by our parents. It can be Bhama, it can be Malati, it can be anything. But that name today belongs to the body and the mind. A new name is given to me by Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads. It is a common name for all of us. And that common name is called as Atma, the self. The self in you is this pure awareness. The self in me is the same pure awareness. There is universally only one self. In fact, at the physical level, Vyavaharika level, there are actions at the body level, mind level, intellect level, thought level. But there is no action happening at the Paramarthika level, Atma level, Sakshi level, illuminator level. What illumines the activities is not performing any action. The difference is in the individuality being present or absent. This individual ego I, if you really think hard, very simply, if you just close your eyes and think what happens during the waking state, what happens in the sleep state. This whole ego I gets dropped in the sleep state. And I rest in my own Swarupam, which is called as Atma. I rest in my own natural state, which is pure existence, pure presence, without the body, mind, intellect, and the world. That is my real nature. We can't go beyond action immediately. With superficial knowledge, which we have just picked up from Bhagavad Gita, we cannot become Brahman or this pure awareness. The depth of knowledge is required for us to reach Atma, to be peaceful with our own self. For that only, the 3 steps are prescribed. Listening to the scriptures, contemplation of the scriptures, dropping the wrong notions in our mind. Once these 3 processes are completed, we ourselves will realize, I am this Atma. It is a time-tested method. Thousands of people in the past, in the present, have got this knowledge and they have become freed. There are a lot of literature available of realized masters. If you read those those autobiographies, you will understand that this is possible and it is a fact. We are not the first one to do experimentation on the Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads. Before us, for thousands of years, people have gone through the same literature as we are learning, the same verses of the Bhagavad Gita, which has given them the fruit. It will give us the fruit. One day we will realize, I am the Atma. You give up Sangha and Phala at the stage of Karma Yoga. But at the stage of Jnana Yoga, you just own up the Atma. So a person is a renouncer at a Karma Yoga level, not Vidvat or Vividisha Sannyasa level. That means a Tyagi. A Tyagi means giving up. Giving up the results of action is possible at the Karma Yoga level, because at the Vidvat and the Vividisha Sannyasa level, we will be attached to the Atma. It is no longer giving up. It is giving up at the Karma Yoga level. Giving up at the individuality. Giving up the Karma Phala, the fruit of action. At a Vidvat Sannyasi, what happens? The ego I drops off. It drops off by itself because of knowledge of Atma. By knowing I am the pure Sakshi, Satchidananda Atma, one Atma which pervades this entire universe, which is without the limitation of Desha, Kala, Vastu. It is not limited. This Atma, the consciousness in us, is not limited in place. That means what? I am the Atma, whether I am in London, whether I am in India, whether I am in Singapore. It is not limited by time. I am the Atma when I was born, now, and in future. Time does not affect consciousness. Limited, not limited by objects. A table is limited because it is not a chair. A chair is limited because it is not a mobile. So objects are limited, but not consciousness, which is the substratum, which is the illuminator of all the objects. So the illuminator is never affected, never limited. It only illumines, but the objects are limited. This is the way we should understand our real nature. In the Upanishads, which we will be studying after the Bhagavad Gita, we learn how to drop this ego I. More and more knowledge about Atma is given in the Upanishads. Very deep study of going internally into our mind, understand the nuances of the mind, and dropping this ego I. That is the process, that is the journey. And what do we realize in the end? At the Atma level, there is no action. It is only illuminator. Consciousness, awareness is only an illuminator of all the objects and beings in the world. The entire universe is lit up by this light of consciousness. And we don't have to search for that consciousness. I am that pure light. That is why we call this a spiritual light. While doing physically all actions, we are not doing factually any action, because we are this pure light in which actions are going on. Vividisha sannyasi has given up worldly activities, but he is engaged in shravanam. Vividisha means veditum ichha. He wants to know this Atma. Therefore, he does listening to the scriptures. 3 levels of giving up are there: Karma Yoga, Vividisha level, and Vidvat Sannyasi level. At the Karma Yoga level, I give up Sangha, attachment to the action, and the phalam, the fruit of action. But I am engaged in duty. In Vividisha Sannyasi, I am learning to be the Atma. In Vidvat Sannyasi, I tell I am the Atma. So in this word, what Lord Krishna is saying is Dehabrit, the one who has got the body, he can't abide in the self easily. The problems of man, husband, father, businessman, doctor, lawyer, all this will be affecting us. I take myself to be the body, mind, but not Atma. What happens at the body level? I have a lot of problems. My knee is paining, my spine is a problem, my heart is pumping slowly, I have sugar problem, so many problems at the body level. But the Bhagavad Gita teaches us that I can still survive, exist as I exist in sleep without this identification with the body. This is the lesson. At the mind level, again, raga, dvesha, kama, krodha, lobha, mada, matsarya, so many properties are attached to the mind. So many likes I have. Doesn't matter. What you have to say is these are at the mind level. I want to study that. I want to study that. I want to study this. Doesn't matter. Go ahead and study. But remember, this is at the mind level. Who am I? I am not the mind. I am the Atma. You have to decide whether to go after all the studies which the mind is pushing me into the external world, or you want to study about Atma, the light in which I am seeing my thoughts. of likes and dislikes. When you study the Atma, what happens is slowly you will understand that I am the Atma, which is my immortal nature. Do you want to go after immortality or mortality? Mortality is the thoughts. Every thought rises and falls. Every thought changes. One day I want good food. Another day I want good fragrances. Another day I want something else. The five sense organs, they push us into the five sense objects in the world. Beyond them lies this Atma. The moment I enter the 5K, the Panchakoshas, I am affected by the world. The moment I drop the 5 koshas, I am liberated. And that is the process of the whole journey. Joys and sorrows of the roles I play are real. My problems become real if I am the ego I. The I has got 2 states. Very important to understand intellectually these 2 states. We don't need to drop anything in life, but understanding is what is important. What are the 2 states? One is associated with the upadhi, with the medium or transaction. And the other one is not identified with the upadhi. The left-hand side box tells me what all happens when I'm associated with the body. And the right-hand side tells me what happens when I am not associated with the body, but I have the pure knowledge. So what happens at the body level, mind level, intellect level? I am a samsari. I am a person having a lot of problems. I was born. I may not be alive for too long. These are only thoughts. They are not factual. The fact is, I is Atma. It is not the body. So this is Ajnana Kale. When I didn't know the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, I am very fortunate. I have come to the study of Bhagavad Gita. If I had not come to the study of Bhagavad Gita, I will still be drowned in my sorrow. I will never get peace of mind or freedom. So the problem is in understanding my real nature. It's a cataract of the mind. Like we have a cataract for the eyes, this is a cataract for the mind. The mind is distorted. We must learn at the anatma level, there is never freedom. They're always limited. The body is limited, it has got problems. The mind is also limited, it has got problems. Therefore, we cannot imagine our freedom at the anatma level. Anatma means what? At the body level, mind level. Therefore, at the body level, mind level, what should I do? I should perform karma yoga. Karma yoga means what? 2 things. I do the duty as per prescription of my state. Whatever stage I am, if I'm a grandmother, I do the duty of grandmother. If I'm a grandfather, I do a great grandfather's duty. If I'm a father, I do duty. If I'm a son, I do my duty. If I'm a brother, I do. If I'm a sister, I do the duty. As a mother, I do my duty. And the second part of karma yoga is, I take whatever result it comes, I take it as a prasada. It is a fruit given by God, that's all. God means what? Whoever is controlling this entire universe, that is what we call it as God. The 3 states, waking, dream, and sleep. Who causes this? Am I the cause? No, the body is just coming, going, waking, dream, sleep, waking, dream, sleep. Who is causing this? It is the creator of the universe. That creator knows what I need. and he will keep me alive till the last breath. I don't have to do anything. I just have to do my duty. So at the body level, I can't renounce action. I'm still the doer. Action goes with a sense of individuality. Doing at level of body is vyavaharikam. It is vachyartha level, at the level of transaction. What is the other state? The other state is jnana kala. This is all ajnana kala we have seen identified with the upadhi. Upadhi means medium. In jnana kala means what? In jnana kala, it is I am with the knowledge, I am the Atma. Pure consciousness, awareness is my nature. Very, very peaceful because there are no thoughts in it. All the thoughts are at the anatma level. I am the Atma. Pure Atma, pure awareness, consciousness is my nature. Does it have birth? No. Consciousness is ever there, eternally there. Yesterday I was conscious, today I'm conscious, tomorrow I'll be conscious. That consciousness, it is a higher level, it is called as paramarthika. Higher level means what? Like we have the dreamer, sleeper, and the waker. Waker, we say, is higher than dreamer. Dreamer is higher than the sleeper. 3 levels. Now I'm discovering I am Atma. This is the 4th level, which is called as Turiyam. This Turiyam is higher than the waker. And this is ever free, always free. So by knowledge of Gita, I learn, I renounce my ego as a waker, as a dreamer, as a sleeper, and then I own up the Atma, which is Akarta Abhokta. Akarta means I'm not a doer of action because it is Prakriti which does actions. And once I reach the Atma, it is no longer called as Vachyartha. Vachyartha means what is at that transactional level. I am at a higher level, indicative level, which is called as Lakshyartha. I has got 2 levels. One is Vachyartha at the level of transactions, and then I at the higher level, which is called as Lakshyartha. Lakshya means indicated by indicative level. That means Atma can only be shown in a direction. We just say that I am Atma beyond the sleep state. That is only the indication. What exactly it is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. That's all. It is indicated in that to be that level. We are all impelled to act by nature. We are going to study the factors which are going to be very, very beautifully described by Lord Krishna. What happens, what are the factors of action? What are the factors which impels us to action? All that is going to be discussed in very big detail in the next few verses. So the renunciation here we are talking about is not of action, but the fruits of action, which is called as Satvika Tyaga. And at the highest level of person is a person who has dropped the ego I. He is the one who is liberated. Sannyasa, the word sannyasa, you must associate it with dropping the ego. The word tyaga, associate it with dropping the karma phala. If you have understood these 2 words and how they mean what they mean. You have understood 11 verses of the Bhagavad Gita of the 18th chapter. Okay, now we come to the 12th. This is also a continuation of the fruit of actions. And what do you mean by karma phala tyaga? You keep on telling Arjuna. Arjuna is wondering, what is karma phala tyaga? What are the different types of fruits of actions? Anishtam ishtam mishram cha trividham karmana phalam bhavatyatyaki pretya natu sannyasinam kvachit. Here, the Lord tells us that there are three types of fruits of actions. What are the three types? He describes it well. See, look at how this Lord Krishna teaches all this step by step. If you study the 18th chapter, you see a tremendous amount of structuring of the chapter, which is what you will see in the next few verses. Very beautifully structured. The glory of Vidvat Sannyasi is the proof of rebirth for others. Vidvat Sannyasi has given up ego I, but he is still at the body level, he is still doing duties. Which means what? He is still performing his prarabdha karma for others. At his own vision, what happens? There is no more body, no more actions being done by me. I am ever the Atma. Renouncing the ego I, individuality, which performs the actions, is this I, which is called as Sakshi. Attached to the truth, it is Nitya Mukta Atma, Aham Asmi. That pure I is never born, never dies. It is timeless. It is called as Turiyam in Mandukya Upanishad. And once you have identified with that timeless principle, you are ever free, which is called as Brahman. These are all terms which are used for the mind to understand how to drop the ego I. The moment you give up the identification of the body, mind and intellect by renouncing them as not me. That's all. We just have to tell ourselves, this is not me. You just have to close your eyes and say, I am not the body. And then what do you have to say? I am the pure Atma. Learn to say this more often and you will see a magical transformation in your life. We get attached to the ego I, the individuality, which is reborn again and again. Because the ego has got a lot of karma and karma phalam. This ego I is always found in time and space. What is not found in time and space is Atma I. How do you know it exists? Because that happens to be me. That me I can never negate at any time. Abaditam. These are the things which we learn in Upanishads. How to look at that Atma correctly. How to refine our mind. We have refined our mind to a certain level by the study of the Bhagavad Gita. How to refine it further and further. That is what we learn when we study the Upanishads. The result of action is anishtam, undesirable, mishram, desirable, mixture. That means it is neither desirable. It is a mixture of desirable and undesirable. Now, when the result of action is at the body, at the level, when it is undesirable, we get a lower body, a plant life, animal life, the lower lokas, the lower 7 lokas. When it is desirable, we get a higher body which has got more knowledge, more happiness, more longevity. This is all where we get ishtam, anishtam. Ishtam means what is desirable. So, and what is the mishram? If we get a mixture, if it is a higher level, it is the Devata body. If it is a mixture body, it is called as the Manushya Janma. So 3 types of results of actions are possible: Mishram, Ishtam, Anishtam, Mishram. Lower body, mediocre body, Manushya body, or the higher Devata body. In the 6th chapter, this was beautifully mentioned. Parthanaiveha namutra vinashastasya vidyate nahi kalyana krita kishchit durgatim tadagacchati. The same thing was mentioned in the 6th chapter also when we discussed the yoga brishta. So a karma yogi is in a spiritual bath and he follows knowledge, which is the one which protects him from fear of death. The path is karma yoga, vividisha sannyasi, vidvat sannyasi. This is what we have discussed. I just want to summarize it here. So yoga brishta topic was discussed to prove that we can get 3 types of results. If you remember the 6th chapter, you might recall some people are born in a rich family. They have all the comfort in life, born with a silver spoon. Why? Because they have done some good karmas in the past. Some people like us, we have done mixture. We don't have too much comfort. We don't have too much problems. We have got somewhat of a balance. Now we are learning the Bhagavad Gita so that we can get free from this birth life cycle. So in this verse, what Lord Krishna wants to say is that the karma phalam which we get can be of 3 types, but we should note how to drop this karma phalam and to try to go towards Atma. Mundaka Upanishad very clearly says, Vidyate hridaya grantihi chittante sarva samshayaha shiyante chase karmani tasmin drishte paravare. What it means is that by removing the knots of the heart means ignorance. Avidya, kama, karma. That knot, these 3 are supposed to be the knots of the heart. I remove the basic knot is ignorance of the self. Avidya. And how do I do that? By having the knowledge of Atma. By doing that, what happens? Kama and karma, desire and actions, both are dispelled. The karma account is closed for that individual who has got Brahmanishta. The moment you say, I am the Atma, I don't have any more actions, your account is closed. As far as the law of karma is concerned, you have no more rebirth. You have got freedom from sorrow. It is all at the mind level. Understanding clearly the Atma and dropping the identification. The action at the body level will still be going on. That is Prakriti. Nobody can stop it. What is the knowledge Vidvat Sannyasi is blessed with? How is moksha obtained? We are going to study the deeper analysis now of action. How does action happen? What are the factors of action? What are the impellers of action? Is going to be taken up from now, the next verse, till the 20th verse. 8 verses we are going to study before we start the analysis of the 6 other factors. We have finished sannyasa. So we have finished what is sattvic, rajasic, sannyasa. There are 6 more factors we have to learn. Those 6 factors, we will start them from the verse number 20. But before that, Lord Krishna is going to give us an introduction to why we study those 6 factors. Panchaitani mahabaho karanani nibodhame Sankhye kritante proktani siddhaye sarva karmanam. Very, very important verse to understand the difference between organs of knowledge, organs of action, and Atma. How do I differentiate? Many people have this trouble. Bhagavad Gita tells me no Atma, no Atma. But I am attached to the body. How do I learn? How do I understand the deeper aspects of this body? This verse is basically a revision of Tattvabodha. It's a very deep verse. We are going to study this in detail. The goal of Upanishads is establishment in the self, which is Akarta Atma, which is called as Purusha. The Bhagavad Gita wants us to be the Atma. But today we are the ego I, the Karta I, the doer I. The doer I is basically made up of 5 factors. If we study these 5 factors properly, we will be able to be free from these 5 factors and see ourselves as the pure illuminator of the 5 factors. Kathopanishad has got this Mahavakya, Anyatra Dharmat, Anyatra Dharmat, Anyatra Asmat Krita Kritan, Anyatra Bhuta Cha Bhavya Cha, Yattat Pashyati Tatvada. Very beautiful verse. Keep on contemplating on this verse. When we do the Kathopanishad, I will explain to you very deep meaning of this verse, which takes you directly to the Atma. There, the student, Nachiketa, is asking to Lord Yama, the controller of death. Oh Lord, you are the death principle. You control everybody's life. Can you teach me? Because you know very well, is there something other than right, virtue, and vice? That means, is there anything beyond punyam and papam? Right and unright, dharma and adharma, krita akrita, cause and effect, bhuta cha bhavya cha, past and future. Past and future refers to time principle. Is there immortality in this world? Is there a timeless principle, something which is not affected by time? See how beautifully a 7-year-old boy asks Lord Yama this question. He wants to get liberated at the age of 7. And he wants to know the timeless essence of this creation. Is there a timeless essence? Lord Yama says, yes. Oh, dear boy, a beautiful question you have asked about Atma. I will teach you the Atma Vidya. And the whole Kathopanishad is nothing but this teaching of Atma. And there, basically, the main teaching is at the body level, actions are going on. There is another level, which is the Atma, in which there is no action. Now, what are the 5 factors? Panchaitani Mahabaho. That is what is saying. Remember these 5 factors. Number 1, Adhishthanam means the body, the seat of action. Number 2, Karta, the doer, the one who is identified, the ego I, the most important factor amongst all the 5 factors. Pritak Vidan Karanam, the instrument. Cheshtaha, the action itself. Daivam, the controlling factor, the God factor, the Devata factor, blessing each organ. We are going to study each of these 5 factors in detail. Only a Vidvat Sannyasi has the full knowledge of these 5 factors. Not Vividisha Sannyasi, because he's still trying to learn to study. He's just getting into the class. A Vidvat Sannyasi is the one who knows the 5 factors, and he says, I am not the 5 factors. I am the eliminator of the 5 factors. I am the Atma. So all of us have to become the same. Like Nachiketa, we have to learn the 5 factors. We have to own up our nature of Atma, which is timeless. By understanding these factors, which Lord Krishna is going to mention, and the 6 factors which he is going to take up for analysis from the 20th verse onwards, we are going to learn to become free from our identification. So we must be very clear what we are studying in the Moksha Sannyasa chapter. What is Jiva's real nature? Actionless self, which is the substratum for all the mithya actions at the body, mind, and intellect level. You see, this way, when we try to analyze ourselves, we will be able to understand our nature. Actions are going on, it is an appearance. Mithya. Mithya means it is an appearance. The body appears to act in the waking state, and then it disappears in the sleep state. Therefore, it is called as Mithya. Sankhya Vedanta Shastra gives us a clear knowledge. Samyak Jnanam. Samyak Jnanam means, Sankhya is a system of philosophy. Like Vedanta is a system, Sankhya is a very, very close brother of Vedanta. Sankhya and Vedanta, they agree to a very large extent the entire philosophy. Only at the last level, there is a small difference. Sankhya says there are many Atmas. Vedanta says there is only one Atma. This is the last point that they differ. Up to that level, they say everything is fine. World is mithya. They also understand world is mithya. But then they say Atma is many. Many, many Atmas are there. That is where the confusion lies. But here what it means is both the systems give us clarity in knowledge. Shreyan Dharmavat. So these are the verses which will teach us a little bit in the past how this topic has been dealt with. In the 4th chapter, see, this 18th chapter is a summary. So we will be taking some of the verses from the previous chapters just to brush up and how to make this chapter a summary. So in the 4th chapter, when the different yajnas were taught, it was said that the superior most is the knowledge compared to all the yajnas. They all culminate in the knowledge of Atma. And what is that knowledge? That knowledge is, I am the Sakshi. I am not the doer. The 28th verse of the 3rd chapter clearly says again the same thing. Tattva vittu mahabaho gunakarma vibhagayoho gunaguneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. A jnani knows very well that it is the gunas of the sense organs acting with the sense objects. At the Vyavaharika level, it is the Prakriti which is acting, not the Purusha. The moment we say, I am doing, I am acting, that is the cause of problems. The next verse is a continuation. Like I said, up to the 20th verse, we will be studying, 19th verse, we'll be studying all the important factors. So Bauba, if you have something, you will please note it down. I'll ask you at the end of the class. You can ask your questions in about 5 minutes' time. Adhishthanam tatha karta karanam cha prithak vidham vividasya prithak cheshta devam chaivatra panchamam. More details of the 5 factors. The 5 factors, again, revision. Seat is called as Adhishthanam, the body. The body is the house. The indweller is the ego I, the doer I, the karta I, who doesn't know his real nature as Atma I. He uses the karanams. Karanams means the organs of knowledge, organs of action. And then he does the cheshta, which is the prana shakti. Action is done by the prana shakti. And the devam is the controlling factor of all the sense organs of knowledge and organs of action. Adhishthanam means the seat of action, body. The body is located, it has got ashraya, where jiva is seated. The house. Karya means the doer. Jivatma is the individuality, the ego I, the inner voice, which keeps telling us, I must do this, I must not do this, I must do this, I must not do this. I must go for a walk, I must go and eat, I must go and drink something. I have to go to work, I have to come for class. All this is the ego I. It is the ahamkara which says, I am seeing. Ahamkara means the I which is attached to the organs of knowledge or organs of action. Suppose I'm not attached to the organs of knowledge or action. Who am I? I am the pure consciousness. The thought which identifies with the karanams, the eyes, the ears, I am eating, I am tasting, I am seeing, I am smelling, that is at the karanam level. When I am using a particular instrument. So it is a thought. The ego I is a thought which identifies, it is the connection. I is that connection. I is a thought which connects me to the body. The feeler, thinker, perceiver I. If you see the BMI chart, you will be very clear. What is this BMI chart? Om is my free nature, Atma, the supreme consciousness. I'm just revising this so that in the next week, when you come back, you will be able to appreciate these verses more clearly. Because this is the way we understand the entire activity which happens at the Vyavaharika level. At any time you want to teach somebody what is happening to all of us at the body level, you can easily teach them with this chart. Many of you have started teaching, I can understand. I mean, I have heard from you. Very good. So the body, mind, and intellect, they are the instruments, the karanams. The perceiver, feeler, and thinker is born when the I is attached to the body, or I is attached to the mind, or I is attached to the intellect. At the sleep level, what happens? There is no I attached to the BMI. Therefore, there is no PFT, there is no OET. So when the body is perceiving certain things, certain objects, we are called as perceiver. When the mind is feeling emotions, it is called as the feeler. When the mind, intellect is thinking thoughts about plans of what to do in future, that same I is called as a thinker I. So the objects are either physical objects, the emotional thoughts, or the thinker thoughts. So what happens? The I, the pure I, which is the Om, is not at all acting. It is the illumining factor. It is the consciousness which illumines all these activities. Ahamkara is a very clever dodger, real culprit inside our body. If you do wrong things, Ahamkara will say, it is the vasana which is responsible, which is karana shariram, the unmanifest did it. Because the mind always likes to throw everything onto the conditions in the body. Ego is the responsible entity in the body, which gets the spiritual knowledge and realizes its nature. I, the ego, have to own up the bodiless Atma. Then ego needs the instruments to function. Anything the instrument does, it will identify with. Now this chart here is the chart of Tattva Bodha. It's a revision of Tattva Bodha. Very simple, you have done. It's a very simple thing. You all know this. I'm just revising it. The karanams are of two types. One is called as Jnana Indriya, another is called as Karma Indriya. Jnana Indriya is Chakshu, Shrotram, Granam, Rasanam, Tvaku. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. And each of them have a faculty, either seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. This is the inner faculty in the body. It is covered in the Adhishtanam, the body, the seat. It is through these instruments that the body functions. Then there is another set of organs which is called as organs of action. Here we become karta, bhokta, that is through the organs of action. Vak, pani, padam, upastha, payu, these are the 5 organs of action. Speech, grasping, running, locomotion, that is pada, upastha, and payu. Each faculty expresses with certain specific organ. Eyes can only see. Ears can only hear. Eyes cannot hear. You must remember this. So hands have got grasping faculty, legs have got walking faculty. The outside organ is called as golakam. The faculty is called as karanam. The 5 pranas, they are called as pritak cheshta. Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. Again, Tattva Bodha, respiration, excretion, circulation, reverse action, and digestion. These are the responsible factors for any action. The last factor, the fifth factor, is Deva, presiding deity, which energizes, which watches, which backs up the body when it has to leave the body. Again, it unpacks the organs into a new body. So who does this action of packing, unpacking? It is not me, it is the Devata which is responsible. And what are the cosmic Devatas? The names of the cosmic Devatas and what they are responsible for. Mind is Chandra Devata, Buddhi is Prajapati, Shrotra Indriyam is Dik Devata, Chakshu is Surya Devata, Rasana is controlled by Varuna Devata, Tvak is controlled by Vayu Devata, Hand is controlled by Indra Devata, Ahamkara is by Rudra. So the body is closely connected with the cosmos because the Devatas are controlling the body. Now you see, with this knowledge of Tattva Bodha, can I be free from all this? Of course, yes. Because these are all controlled by Prakriti, by the Devatas. My eyes cannot function until the Surya Devata is blessing it. The cosmic macro factor must bless my eyes. So similarly, the whole body is nothing but a part of this whole universe. The Devatas, they enable the body to function like the petrol in a car. And the same Devatas, they help me to pack up when I leave this body and then unpack the sense organs. Again, I have to put them into a new body. A baby is born. How does the baby get the faculties of seeing, hearing? It is not under the baby's control. It is the control of the Devata. The Chakshu Devata will enter and make the eye see. The power is not belonging to the eyes. It belongs to an external power. It is called as the Devata. Knowledge of an enlightened person is he knows these factors clearly. What is Adhishtanam? What is the seat? Who is the Karta? What is that Ahamkara which is arrogating and saying, I am doing? What are the 12 Karanams? The 5 Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas, Manas and Buddhi. What are the 5 Pranas which are the Cheshtas, the Shakti behind the actions? And lastly, what is the Deva, the cosmic factor which governs this whole body, including the Ahamkara. The Ahamkara is nothing else, but it is controlled by the reflected consciousness. Beyond all this is the reflected consciousness and the pure consciousness. The 5 verses which shows that I am not the Karta, but I am the Sakshi from the Bhagavad Gita is given in the following verses. Purusha prakritisto hi bhungte prakritijan gunan karanam guna sangyose sadasanyoni janmasu. The Purusha is seated in the Prakriti. It experiences the qualities born of Prakriti. And it is the Prakriti which is attached to the body. Upadrashtanamanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwaraha paramatmeti chapyuktaha dehesmin purusha paraha. Beyond this Prakriti lies this Purusha, the spectator, the permeator, the supporter, the reflected consciousness, and the pure consciousness. Prakrtaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashah ya pashyati tathatmanam akartaram sa pashyati. Who is a wise person? A wise person is a person who knows that the Prakriti alone is doing, not me, the Purusha, the pure consciousness. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashah ahamkara vimudhatma kartarhamiti manyate. All actions are always done by Prakriti. 3rd chapter, 27th verse. Tattva vittu mahabaho gunakarma vibhagayoh guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. We have seen this verse recently. So I must know clearly who does action. It is the 5 instruments. What puts an end to action? It is the sense of wishing and wanting. Why action takes place? Because of incompleteness in me. So karmas are there at the body level, at the vak, at the speech level, at the mind level. Mind level is the thoughts. At the speech level, it is called as vachikam. And at the body level, it is hearing, tasting, moving, holding. It is sharirikam. So next week, we will do this 15th verse of the 18th chapter. So the last 3 verses, 13, 14, and 15, summarizes what are actions, what are good actions, right action, wrong actions, all that we have studied. Next week, we will continue our study with the 15th verse. With this, we will close this our discussions today. Om Purnamada Purnidam Purnat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyade. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Okay. So if you have any questions, we can take it up. There is nothing in the chat box. So Shanmugam will unmute everybody. So you can ask questions yourself. And yeah, but tell me.
One question, probably I think I will just detail the question. Probably help Lavan to learn from you how to approach it. So let us say I do not like tea or coffee.
Okay.
But I would like to have something warm. And that happens to be like, I can have a warm water, but then it is a tasteless one. You can take 1 or 2 times, but over a period when you take it, you feel that it is not that great. So you would like to have something a little bit of taste, which is like, let us take a warm lemonade.
Yeah.
Now, as a body, the body likes to have that lemonade probably twice a day or thrice a day.
Yeah.
Now, how do I look at it? As if, is it an attachment I am having it, or is it something I am offering it to the deity, which is here in this case is the tongue, the deity of the tongue. I am offering it, and then just move on. What should I do it, or how do I look at it?
Yeah. Okay. Very nice question.
Should I drop this altogether and experiment it, or something like that?
No. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You see, what we have to understand is that there are 3 levels of our living. Now, At the body level, we have to live our life. There is no escape from it. So at the body level, the body wants to drink coffee or tea or lemonade or water. Water it wants to drink. Okay, that is a like at the taste level. Your tongue is having the desire. So we have to follow whatever is good. Suppose you feel that by drinking tea or coffee is not good for my health because your intellect is now governing the taste. Suppose you say this laddu is not good for me, I've got this problem. Therefore, the intellect is telling the sense organ that please don't eat laddus. So in this case, what happens is we have to use our intellect. Our likes and dislikes at the body level have to be controlled at the intellect level. We should not bring in Devata, we should not bring Atma and all when we are transacting in the world and we are living with our body and we have to maintain our body. The body has got desires, it has got hunger, it's got thirst. So at the level of body, let us live whatever the body, but use the intellect to govern the body. You are taking the example of just a drinking or coffee or tea or something like that. You can apply the same principle to whether I should see good things, whether I should watch too much of WhatsApp, or whether I should watch too much of internet, or at the eyes level. At the nose level, it can be, should I keep on buying flowers every day, morning, evening, afternoon, and then keep on offering the flowers and I can enjoy the flowers. The same questions can happen at all the five sense organs level. So when you're operating at the sense organ level, use the knowledge of your intellect and then you live by your discrimination between the right and wrong things. That is the only way we should conduct at the transactional level when it refers to the body. Only when you come to want to understand what is this whole, who am I? Am I the body or am I someone different? When you want to understand that, then you come to the Bhagavad Gita, you do Tattvabodha, you do Atmabodha, you do Upanishad. At that time, you're trying not to satisfy your taste, or at that time, you're trying to understand, who am I? When you're trying to understand and want to have the knowledge of, the real knowledge of I, at that time, you bring the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, the 18th chapter, which says that the 5 actions which are happening are due to the 5 factors in the body. At that time, you bring that knowledge and say there is a Devata in this body which is acting, which is pushing the body to act. There is a law behind it. Only when you want to know the real nature of the world. Till then, you don't ask these questions about Devata, Atma, nothing, before, like how you were before you came into Gita, Before coming into Gita, you never asked, your tongue wanted to drink tea, coffee, and then you just had your tea or coffee, and then you dropped it. That's it. Only when you want to learn the higher aspects about yourself, then you ask the question, is this body the real me? That is the question which is driving you to other aspects of the body. Only when you come to that level, you apply all the knowledge which the Gita is teaching us. The goal should be very clear. The goal is not to live our life properly. For that, it is Dharma Shastra is good enough. But to know the real I and to have moksha, moksha means I want to be free from the rebirth. Who wants to come again and have this whole process of child and go to school and go through college and come to Singapore and see the COVID and again go back, and who wants to have all this? So when you want to get out of this, there is a science. That science of Atma is being taught in the 18th chapter. By the end of the chapter, you will know, oh, this is the science which Lord Krishna has taught throughout. Up to 14th verse, now we are doing the summary. Each one we are taking up and trying to understand what Krishna has already taught us about action, about the karanams, about all the, whatever he has taught to us, what is this prakriti, what is that purusha. We are revising all that now. But you must remember that this we are doing only to know the ultimate now. We are at the final stage of getting that moksha. And therefore, we are understanding the Daivam principle in the sense organs. Is it clear?
Yeah, I understand what you are trying to point out, but I will have a counter question here.
Yeah.
If you, the way you say that, no, like what the Shastra is teaching about the presiding deities for each of these organs and etc., what will happen is that we will squeeze out of our 24 hours, ignoring there are 8 to 10 hours we are sleeping, the remaining out of that 14 hours or something, we will end up with spending probably 30 minutes or 1 hour just to analyze these things, whereas remaining 13 hours we will be wasting on or otherwise using it for some other purpose, right?
Yes, you're right. Yes.
Isn't the Shastra teaching us, saying that in all your waking hours, every action you do, bring in the knowledge, utilize the knowledge, and that way you are performing your action without an attachment, and you know that no, it is happening. I'm just witnessing it. That's it, and then move forward. Isn't that the objective of the Shastra?
Yes, you're right. You see, you are discriminating. You yourself are saying that there are 2 stages. One is at the Ajnani level, and the second is at the Jnani level. Yep. The first statement you made, that 13.5 hours we are doing all actions, that is at the Ajnani level, at the ignorance level. And when you get the Jnanam, you're saying that I am the Sakshi and everything else is going on, everything is going on, but I am not attached to the action. That is a Jnani's vision.
So I think attempting this in this way is just probably is a step forward only, right?
Yes, it is a step forward. Correct. You see, Jnani, what happens is what you have just now said. For a Jnani, he abides in that Atma throughout his life. You see, this is what is the change which happens. You and I, we listen to Bhagavad Gita for half an hour. We are more in the first phase, the first one which you talked about, Ajnani. We are half an hour listening to Gita every week, and then 13.5 hours we are working and doing on so many things. But a stage will come when you continue this study. A stage will come. You also will become Jnani, and you will then say, I am 13.5 hours with myself. Half an hour in my day, sometimes I get carried away. I become deluded and I become a krodhi, a kami. That is what happens when that abidance in the Atma takes place. This is the change.
Okay.
You got it, right?
Sure. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Very good. Very good question. Very deep question. Well done. Very good analysis. Anybody else?
Sekhaji.
Yeah, tell me, Bhavai.
This Karta Bhokta is we doing or the Lord doing?
Okay, good. Karta and Bhokta, you see, the moment I say I am a doer of action, normally you and I will think that I am the doer. So without the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, suppose you don't attend the Bhagavad Gita. Say 5 years ago, you never attended Bhagavad Gita. You always thought, I am the doer, I am the doer, I am the body, I am the body, I am the doer. I get up in the morning, I am doing certain actions. This is what you say, I am the doer. But after the study of Bhagavad Gita, what happens to us is, the more we listen to the Gita, the more the Bhagavan is teaching us, oh Baba, you are not the doer of action. I am the one who is doing every action in your body. Why are you thinking that you are the doer, you are the doer? You give all your actions to me, and then you see who you are. And then you will be one with me. This is the teaching of Bhagavad Gita to the person who thought he was the doer. So then what happens? That Baubai, who thought that he was the doer of action, he surrenders his ego, which is that Baubai, and then he says, Baubai, now I have surrendered this ego to that Lord. And I have now become Atma. I am the pure consciousness. I am the pure self. This is the knowledge of the Gita.
But sometimes we think that, sometimes we commit a sin or what. Then is the Lord going to be responsible or we are responsible?
No. You see, ultimately, whatever is, Lord is not, Lord, actually, what is the Lord? In the presence of the Lord, the body is acting. You see, it is not the Lord is acting. You see, the Lord is like the sunlight. In the presence of the sunlight, all the plants, they get the energy. The human beings get the energy to come and start acting. As soon as you get up in the morning, the sunlight wakes us up. That sunlight wakes us up, gives us the energy, and then it gives, because of that energy, our body starts acting. So similarly, Lord is like that petrol in the car. He is not, he is not telling you to go left or right. He is just providing the energy. It is a human being which is that responsible, that the mind which is responsible for all those actions. See, it all depends on how you look at it. You look at the body as yourself, then you are the doer. Suppose you say, I am not the body, then you are not the doer. That is how you should understand.
But how do you know? Sometimes like we commit the sin and then, like,
yes, it happens. Correct. You see, when things happens in ignorance, what you say is, it is not me, but it is my vasanas which is the problems, and therefore in ignorance I did some error. It is due to my past. It is due to my past habits. This error has been committed. It's okay. The body will change. The body. See, our life is not 100% free. At the body level, we are not 100% free. Atma level only we are free. So suppose the body does certain actions and you feel these are wrong actions, it doesn't matter. That is the part. That is a part and parcel of life. You go on. Keep studying the Bhagavad Gita and then you will see. See, your question is basically because you are not able to drop that I am this body. That is the problem. It is the body attachment is very strong. Therefore, you don't know how to drop this attachment. This attachment will be dropped. The more we study, the more the knowledge goes deeper into our mind, then this question will be solved. You yourself will say, oh, okay, now I accept. See, today we are not accepting this teaching of Gita. Gita is telling me that you are not the body. But I keep on saying, no, I am the doer, I am the doer, I am the doer. And then you keep on saying, how I am not the doer. See, here is where Shraddha comes. Shraddha means faith. You accept what the Lord is teaching us as the first thing. Oh Lord, you are teaching me this. Okay, I accept. And then you see the difference. You'll see a small way you are able to accept the teaching. Okay?
That's the point. So we commit a sin now that we feel that whether, is it over the past karma or?
It is the past karma phalam. Whatever we are experiencing, if we experience that there is an error, you just say accept it as past karma phalam and then leave it. That's all. I have suffered, I have a problem, I have suffered, now I am free. You see, every minute of our day is a fresh experience for us. Every minute is a fresh experience for all of us. The past is gone. The last second is gone. I'm again free. Because why? Because my mind is free of the thoughts. The moment again thoughts come, again I get engaged. Again I get caught up. So learn to drop identification with the thoughts which cause this problem.
Because sometimes people go to prison, come out and all that, this is the best effect for us.
Yes.
And how to solve the problem.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else who's got any other questions? Yeah, Malti, go ahead.
Namaste, Shekharji.
Yeah, tell me.
So I have one doubt. Now I am studying Bhagavad Gita and I am studying Upanishad. And does it mean that I have sadhana chatushtaya sampat?
Okay. See, the moment I'm studying means that you already are having some amount of sadhana chatushtaya sampat. So maybe you have got 40% of sadhana chatushtaya sampat. The more you become, you are able to understand, and the more you feel that what the Shastra is saying is the truth, then your sadhana chatushtaya sampati is growing to a higher level. See, initially to get into Bhagavad Gita or to Upanishads, without sadhana chatushtaya sampati, without the basic fundamental qualification, you will not come in. There is no way a person will come into Bhagavad Gita if he has not got the qualification. The basic qualification is you have Shraddha in the scriptures. I want to learn the Gita because the Gita is going to teach me good things about living. Forget about Atma and ultimately realizing Atma. That is the last step. How to live our current life without identification with my body or mind. That is a basic living itself. This knowledge will help me to lead a proper life every day. So your sadhana chatushtaya sampati, the answer to the question is, the moment you have entered means you have the qualification. Now you have to make that mind more and more purer. Remove all the rubbish which is there in your mind. Automatically, when you remove all the impurities, that Atma itself will shine. That Atma shining itself is a prasada, is a reward of the study of the scriptures. It comes automatically when we are ready. Automatically it will come. One day you will say, I don't have any more questions in life about myself. And I am calm, I am peaceful, I am the Atma. This will happen to you, and continue the study. The sadhana chatushtaya, it will keep on growing. See, this is a process. It is not a revolution. It is a gradual process I keep saying this, it is like the bud which becomes a flower. In the night time, it is a bud. After 6 hours in the morning, before the sun comes, the lily is a beautiful flower. So similarly, my own mind, all our minds, it is not your mind, it is all our mind. The more this knowledge comes in, it is a great benefit to us. And we will see the progress at every step, every day we will notice the progress. No spiritual study will be wasted. That 1 hour of study on a Saturday or on a Wednesday which you do, it will add on, it will go on, adding on, and there will be a progress. Even if, this is what in Yoga Prishta, even if this body leaves before you have the final, next birth you will start with the right guru, with the right scriptures, you will do the Panchadasi and you will come to know your true nature. See, many a times we are not exposed to the right scriptures also. We keep on reading and doing wrong things, even in the spiritual science, in the spiritual path. Very rarely we get a good guru who can explain the Gita well. Very rarely we get gurus who can explain Panchadasi well. You see the text called Panchadasi, or you are coming for those Wednesday classes, you will find tremendous knowledge in that. Tremendous. I mean, it'll remove your doubts. So many doubts, it will clear. Every time you come, you'll find, oh, my doubts is gone. My doubt is gone. So does that answer?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
So, Shekharji, in addition to studying Gita, the world also teaches you with some ridicule saying that these guys are not doing the work, whereas going behind the scriptures and things like that, and then talking some nonsense. If we happen to talk.
See, that you have to learn to avoid. That is why you have to be that aspect of it. You have to be worldly smart.
Keep quiet.
Correct. You see, you have to be worldly smart. You should just turn them away and just smile and say, okay, fine. Like you go and watch a movie or go and do something. I'm also doing this. This pleases me. That pleases you. It's okay. Your interests are different. My interests are different. That's all. You see, ultimately, all of us, whether you are with the scriptures or without the scriptures, all we are trying to do is satisfy our 5 sense organs throughout the day. You just watch their life. You ask them, what you do with your 5 sense organs? Do you go behind this eyes, ears? It depends on what you go. Some people are after music. Morning to evening, for 2 hours, morning practice music. Afternoon, 2 hours practice music. Evening, 2 hours practice music. Well, there are people like that. Some people are doing 2 hours morning meditation, afternoon 1 hour, evening 2 hours, 5 hours of meditation, because that's what they like. Some people do 2 hours of internet search in the morning, 1 hour in the afternoon, evening 2 hours before sleeping, 5 hours of internet search. So it depends. You see, ultimately, we have to lead our life. If you ask me, the Bhagavad Gita teaches us how to lead life. It is a beautiful guide. You have learned 18 chapters. It helps us. Without this knowledge, I would be going astray in the world, completely berserk. I wouldn't know. You see the other people who have got no Gita knowledge. See, what happens is the firmness of the mind is what changes it, what makes the difference in you. That means as long as your mind is wavering, more and more you will be unhappy in life. That is a fundamental law which you should understand. And all other sciences, they are dealing with the objective world, which makes my mind more scattered. The only knowledge which makes the mind one-pointed is this knowledge of Atma. And what the Lord Krishna is clearly teaching us is, in the second chapter, he says, how can you have peace of mind without one-pointedness of your mind? If you don't know how to concentrate, how can you ever have peace of mind? If you don't have peace of mind, how can you have happiness in life? So the control of the mind is the most important thing. And if you are not able to control this mind, then there is no question of peace or happiness. So the way you should answer this question is, okay, fine. You have found happiness in that aspect of life. Go ahead, doesn't matter.
But the fundamental shift is your mind, which is pulled northwards, is turned towards southwards.
Yes, absolutely right.
That is the fundamental difference.
Yes.
Your mind remains the same.
Yes.
The direction is totally changed in another way.
That's correct. You see, instead of looking north, you have started looking south. You have become inward, and instead of looking outward.
Yeah.
Good, very good. Okay, thank you, and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, good night. Good night.